All right, on this episode of Bowks Talking Bouts, excited to be talking to an individual who's going to be performing at Unified MMA 44. It goes down on May the 6th. We have a middleweight bout between Ali Charkie and Lee Byrne, and always good getting to have CLB on the show to talk a little bit. How's the day going so far there, man?
It's going good, man. Just finished training, about to eat my last clean meal before I start doing the hard part of the cut, and that's about it.
I was just wondering, because, 205 and 185, you've had a level of experience at both, but it seems like, 185 would maybe be more of the, natural kind of fit for you. Is that kind of the mentality?
185 is basically where I should be at by my frame. I haven't been here in almost a decade, though, so, but I'm at the lowest weight I've probably ever been in my adult life right now, so maybe I'll even try to get lower for the next fight. We don't know, but definitely 185 is the max for now on.
Yeah, and that's awesome to see and hear and everything like that. And also it was cool to see the fact that you got awarded that BJJ black belt relatively recently. Can you kind of talk about that there? Because that seemed like a very huge thing for you, even on a just, course of your life kind of level, even beyond martial arts.
Yeah, man, I've been working at it for 13, 14 years. I train all day, every day, basically, since the first class I've done. And I did it the right way. I spent a lot of time on each belt. I got my black belt under the man. He gave me my first stripe. It's a big accomplishment. It's the PhD of martial arts. So definitely proud of it. It's one of my biggest life accomplishments, I think.
Yeah, it just seems like you've had a lot of really cool happenings in recent times. Like even the last fight there with getting the win in front of the London crowd. It had been a little bit since you got to compete in front of them, big cheers, being the partisan favorite there and getting a pretty notable win in the sense of building on what you've been doing. So can you talk about that night and some of the emotions with that?
Man, I'm ice cold. To me, it's all good, man. I show up, accept my fate. I just fight either way, So whether it's a win, a loss, whatever, I tend to win though by the looks of it. So, I just roll up and fight, man. It doesn't matter to me if it's in front of someone else's crowd or my crowd or wherever it is, I just fight. It's only me and the other person in there, so I just focus on that. But MMA is not in London often, but when it is, they usually sign me out because I'm probably the number one ticket seller out of London.
Yeah, for sure. I guess maybe that mentality also is informed by just how, regularly you're at these events and interwoven into all of it. It's the wins and losses. It's a matter of how you kind of interface with that kind of stuff there. And it seems like you were out in Vancouver a little bit there cornering some guys. What was that experience like? And can you talk about the dynamics with cornering and stuff like that?
I'm running one of the most active teams in the country right now between amateur and pro. So I'm cornering a couple times a month usually. So at this point, I'm around the cage so much, it doesn't really affect me. Maybe not. It still does, I think, because it's intense for people, right? But it doesn't affect me, I think, how it does everyone else. It's kind of another day in the office for me at this point.
Yeah, for sure. And when did this opportunity with, Unified start to kind of come about? Did they reach out to you? Did you kind of put out a feeler and they were like, oh yeah, we've got this certain fight for you? When did the dialogue?
Rob Beavers, he messaged me and said that they were looking for someone to fight their local hero, and I accepted because I don't duck. So now it's getting down.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a very interesting facet of the fight there, just being that he's kind of the localized guy there, and just he has more, localized experience under the specific Unified MMA banner, less pro experience overall. But from what you've seen in his few fights there, what does Ali Charkie really, do well in your estimation? What are you looking out for style-wise?
Well, he looks like a gamer, man. He looks mentally strong, and he looks like he has a really good top game. He's hard to sweep and hard to submit, and he looks like he's a very good wrestler. So it looks like he swings hard. I think I pace myself better. I think I have cleaner shots, and I think I'm a lot harder to hold down than the guys he's fought. But I'm not underestimating him. I'm planning him to either try to keep it standing or try to stay on top of me and maybe elbow me a bit. But his hands are going to be full. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were talking about the BJJ black belt being awarded to you a little bit ago. The last fight there was almost completely stand up. I think there might have been some brief grappling kind of exchanges there. Obviously you want to, be able to show whatever amount of skill during the fight, but is there a certain emboldenment in the striking from that kind of performance in a certain sense, just putting that out there and being
Well, actually the last fight had no grappling. We clenched twice very briefly and he shrugged off the second clench attempt pretty easily.
Yeah.
It was just a in a kickboxing fight basically for 15 minutes, and he's a good striker, So I think I showed my striking, my comfort there, so that was good. But I actually started with boxing before BJJ, and now I'm way more focused on boxing and kickboxing and Muay Thai now than I am even on jiu-jitsu. I kind of just more teach jiu-jitsu, so I'm confident wherever it goes at this point. My biggest goal is probably my wrestling, but I think I grapple so much, and I'm not really too concerned about it.
Yeah, it just seemed like all the work with like Steve Molitor and all the different sharpening of the stand-up tools really panned out there. But yeah, like you were saying, that was kind of like the first thing that brought you to the dance there. So that must have been satisfying to show that off, because I felt like in a lot of your MMA fights, like they would get very like grappling heavy and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm more known for grappling. That's kind of what people tend to avoid. But I'm not a guy who shoots for takedowns, really. I kind of just fight, and wherever the fight ends up, I just keep fighting.
Yeah, good to be keeping it like adaptable and fluid and stuff like that, I would think, just wherever that fight ends up going.
I just go with the flow, and whatever happens, I just stay on their face and I don't slow the pace.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I know you were saying that there's a level of just comfortability with all of this and everything like that, and you don't like read too much into certain things, but just in the context of it being on like UFC Fight Pass and stuff like that, is there a certain sense of that incremental progression? Like, okay, we're getting on, a UFC Fight Pass kind of broadcast and stuff like that. Like, is there a certain sense of like upward mobility and what this could do for your career, getting the 5th straight win in that kind of place?
Yeah, like I'm definitely, scratching at at that upper echelon now, I think, but inching up towards it. But I try not to put too much thought into it. I just show up and I fight, and whatever happens, happens. But if I fight 20 guys, I'm going to beat most of them. If someone's that special to beat me, they'll probably end up in the UFC anyway. And we'll see if Ali Charkie's that special.
Yeah, I get what you're saying on that end for sure. And are you excited to be out there in the Calgary area and everything like that? Just it seems like they get like good live fight cards when they do end up happening. Obviously, in the last like few years, they haven't been maybe as prominent in that specific part of Alberta. Like, are you looking forward to like maybe a bit of a raucous crowd here? Like, I mean, you got a raucous crowd the last time out, and like probably be on the other side of the crowd sentiment just because you're fighting the hometown guy. But like, what are the thoughts on that?
I was the hometown hero last fight. Now I'm fighting the hometown hero this fight. So yeah, it's what it is. When we're in there, I kind of just focus on him and focus on implementing what I'm going to do. So, we'll just see. We're just going to get down and we're going to see what happens. And then, go and have a good night.
And as far as like the, I guess, contract with Unified MMA, is this just like a one fight sort of thing, or are you having multiple fights under their banner?
This is a one fight deal. I try to keep most things to one fight because I don't know really where my career is going to take me right now. But yeah, this is a one fight deal.
Yeah, I guess I partly asked that too, because when we were last talking, I was asking your, I guess, temperature for like eyeballing a possible like title shot with BTC. So I guess it's good to keep your options open. I think you were even saying like if BFL or Prospect would have like a belt opportunity there for you, you'd capitalize on something like that. So I guess good to have those opportunities.
Yeah, basically UFC's coming to Toronto in September, I'm hearing. So if I can get this win, then I'm going to try to be. That'll be 6-1. I'll try to get on that, and if not, then I'll be looking for a title fight or to put together another win streak.
I was gonna say, or maybe one championship. It seems like you're kind of eyeballing what they're doing a little bit.
Yeah, one championship would be good, man. Like, that'd be big. There's not been a lot of guys from Ontario or Canada that's made it to one FC for MMA, and I'd like to be one of the first guys. One of any of the major organizations, I'd be more than happy to be in.
Is there a certain sense, though, of like the UFC path kind of aligning with like the unified rule set you've been competing in this whole time, or would there be a level of interest in being within that like one championship global rule set with like knees to a grounded opponent and like slightly different aspects like that?
I mean, I'm adaptable. It's a street fight for me. I can adjust it to whatever rule set we need over a few weeks. So to me, it makes no difference if we're soccer getting to the head or if we're elbowing to the head. It's all the same to me.
Yeah, that's a good mentality to have, just the adaptability of it all. And I feel like you were probably watching MMA like back when that was still a thing too, just like the prevalence of that kind of thing, like the soccer kicks and stuff like that.
Yeah, whatever I do, I'm doing it pretty malicious, so it doesn't really change much, and I'm assuming that they are too.
But yeah, I think it's cool that you're actively competing and then also teaching people a lot at Munda Jiu-Jitsu. And like you were saying, one of the busier kind of teams for like amateur and professional fighters for sure. Like how much of the, I guess, helming of that and just like teaching these guys, like how much of that informs your own individual progression as a fighter? I would think it would have certain benefits to what you're doing, you know, as a competitor yourself.
Well, like, yeah, man, I'm reviewing fundamentals all the time. I'm just trying to start leading by example better, more and more so. So this year I'm just trying to stay as active as I can and kind of, you know, run the ship from the front lines.
Yeah, for sure, man. And just, yeah, cool to see a team out of the London area killing it. Like, I mean, Adrenaline MMA has kind of been a stalwart space there. But yeah, good to see like as many kind of gyms popping up there and everything like that. Just such a cool hotbed for MMA in Canada, the London area there. So good to see that there's more chapters being added to the story, as it were.
Yeah, London's a fight city, man. For a smaller city, there's a lot of fight gyms and jiu-jitsu gyms here. A lot.
Yeah, you love to see it. A beautiful visual, no doubt. But yeah, it's been great getting to talk to you, man. I want to be mindful of your time and everything like that, though. So to that point, is there anything you might want to add as a parting thought as we're kind of wrapping up here, Chris?
Yeah, just thank my sponsors, Helping Heroes, Innovative Electric, Live Fit. Check my Talk Dental Hygiene. Check out my social media at Chris Lee Byrne on all socials. You'll see all my sponsors, my site updates, my team updates, and kind of see what's going on with my training.
Definitely send a follow there. And also, if you're not in the immediate Calgary, Alberta area, UFC Fight Pass, peep that. Unified MMA 44 is going down on May the 6th. And Ali Charkie versus Chris Lee Byrne, definitely a fight that I'm excited for. Great card overall. And yeah, just appreciate you coming on the show as always, man. And just best of luck with the remainder of the preparations and looking forward to checking out the fight too.
Thank you very much, man. You have a wonderful day.